Welcome to The Explainer. What if I told you that in just a couple of years, the chaotic, unpredictable world we've all been living in is about to, well, snap into focus? That all this fog is going to lift and reveal a totally new global landscape? That's the huge prediction from The Economist's The World Ahead 2026, and today we are going to break down exactly what that means for you, for your job, and for your future.
Now, look, this isn't just some other forecast. It's really a declaration that this era of constant instability might actually be ending. I mean, think about the last few years, right? We've been thrown around by a global pandemic, huge wars, crazy economic shocks. But the argument here is that the dust is finally settling. And what's taking shape is a new world order with a new set of rules, new technologies, and a whole new cast of global players fighting for the top spot.
So to really get a handle on this new world, we've got to start by looking at the three superpowers who are basically drawing the new maps. You've got the United States, China, and Russia. Each one is facing its own unique, really high-stakes challenges, and the moves they make in 2026, they're going to ripple out across the entire planet. So let's kick things off with the U.S.
By 2026, the United States is going to be deep into this pretty risky economic experiment. I want you to picture a tightrope walker, okay? Way up high, juggling chainsaws, that's kind of the American economy. On one side, it's pouring billions of public dollars into future tech, AI, green energy, but on the other side, it's building these big protectionist walls with high tariffs. It's a huge gamble that's trying to do two opposite things at once: innovate at home, but also shield itself from the world. It could seriously supercharge the economy, or it could all come crashing down spectacularly.
Meanwhile, over in China, they are forecast to be on a collision course with reality. What's being called its year of hubris will see it trying to project all this power and influence on the world stage, while its foundations back home are starting to show some serious cracks. We're talking a sputtering economy, a housing market that seems to be in a permanent nosedive, and a population getting more and more restless under super tight government control. This is the kind of perfect storm that could really derail China's global ambitions, right when it seems to be reaching for that top spot.
And this is what's so interesting when you put them side by side. It really captures the core difference between the two main superpower struggles. America's biggest fight is with itself, right? It's this internal battle, trying to get past deep political divisions and the risks of its own economic bets. China, on the other hand, is fighting an external battle. It's pushing outwards, trying to expand its influence and control, even if it costs them a lot. How these two very different fights play out is going to define the rest of our century.
And then you've got Russia, a superpower in what looks like a painful, grinding decline. By 2026, the war in Ukraine will have become a black hole, just sucking up the country's money, its economy, and its young people into this long, drawn-out conflict with no clear end in sight. And the cracks are really starting to show, and not just on the battlefield. They're appearing right in the heart of Russian society, with economic pain and this quiet brain drain of its best and brightest. So the question isn't really if all this pressure will lead to a breaking point, but when.
But, the rivalry between these big powers isn't the only thing shaping our future. There's another player on the board, a technological wild card that could just rewrite all the rules for everyone and completely upend this whole geopolitical game we just talked about: artificial intelligence.
By 2026, AI is going to be everywhere. It's not going to be a novelty anymore. The conversation's going to shift big time from, hey, what can this thing do, to what is it doing to us? How is it going to fundamentally change the way you work, the way we all live, how we talk to each other? We're about to find out very, very quickly if we're actually ready for the AI revolution.
We are at such a critical tipping point. On one hand, AI could be the engine for this massive productivity boom, with something like 80% of companies expected to be using it. But on the other hand, it could become this Frankenstein's monster that wipes out millions of entry-level jobs, crashes the economy if that AI stock bubble pops, and kicks off a huge social backlash from people who feel like they're being left behind. This isn't science fiction, folks. This is the central dilemma of 2026.
Okay, so what does all of this, these big global power struggles, this crazy tech revolution, what does it actually mean for your wallet? How's it going to affect the price of groceries, your job security, and just your day-to-day economic life? Let's zoom in on that.
Well, get ready to pay more for, pretty much a lot of stuff. The era of cheap, easy-to-get things from all over the world, it's basically over. High tariffs are the new normal, which means the cost of everything from your phone to your sneakers is probably going to keep going up. And as this number shows, the experts are pretty much betting on it. This isn't just some policy debate. It's a total rewiring of the global supply chain that's going to hit all of us right at the checkout.
And at the same time, in 2026, we are set to cross a line we probably can't ever uncross. That 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming threshold, it's not just a number. It's a trigger for way more frequent and intense storms, fires, and floods. It's a potential death sentence for ecosystems like coral reefs, and it's a direct threat to our way of life. The bill for decades of climate inaction is coming due, and trust me, it's going to be a big one.
So with all this doom and gloom I'm talking about, tariffs, climate change, tension, you might think the global economy is about to fall off a cliff, but here's the twist. You'd probably be wrong. As this chart shows, the most likely thing to happen is that we'll just keep seeing slow and steady growth. Why? Well, because after the chaos of the last few years, the global economy has become kind of a battle-hardened veteran. It's learned to take a punch. It's built up this resilience that helps it handle shocks that would have sent it spinning just a decade ago.
So how is all this going to change your life in ways you might not even be thinking about? Because these massive shifts aren't just happening in Washington or Beijing. From a new race to the moon to a pill that could end obesity, the next 2 years are going to be a wild ride. Let's look at some of the most surprising changes heading our way.
Yeah, forget Mars for a second, because the new space race is all about the moon. And specifically, the moon's south pole. It's like the new Wild West, and everybody, the US, China, India, Japan, is rushing to stake a claim. So what's the big prize? A potential treasure trove of resources, especially water ice. And that's huge, because you can use it to create rocket fuel and breathable air, basically powering the future of space exploration right from the moon.
What if you could take a pill and lose weight without having to do any crazy dieting or exercise? Well, that's the promise of a whole new generation of drugs that are set to just explode onto the global market in 2026. Now, this could be a miracle for public health, maybe even ending obesity as we know it, but it also brings up some really tricky social questions, right? What happens to our ideas of beauty? And what does it mean for the huge industries built around weight loss? And hey, get ready to hear a lot more about the beautiful game. In 2026, the FIFA World Cup comes to North America, and it is poised to be a massive game changer. This is way more than just a tournament. It's the moment soccer is predicted to finally go from a popular niche sport to a true national obsession in the United States. America is about to become the new and the biggest center of the global soccer world, and that's going to shift the entire cultural and economic map of the planet's most popular sport.
So look, the world of 2026 is coming, whether we're ready for it or not. The global map is being redrawn, incredible new technologies are weaving into our daily lives, and even our culture is changing right under our feet. At the end of the day, the forecast leaves us all with a pretty critical choice. Are you going to jump into this chaos and find new opportunities in this emerging world, or are you going to risk being left behind? The choice, really, is yours.